a pleasure to talk to Bob Willis, really. Bob, a fantastic win for England, really, in the Ashes 3-1. You couldn't have imagined a better scoreline for that.
No, it was absolutely incredible, Ahmed. The superiority England had in that series was quite outstanding. They got off to a little bit of a nervous start in Brisbane, but once they got into their stride at Adelaide after the hiccup in Perth, they completely humiliated Australia in the last 2 Test matches, and to win 3 of the 5 matches by an innings, I can't remember that happening in history before.
Having said that, don't you think selection really played a part in Australia's ultimate nemesis in the series? Because if they had gone with a select and good lineup, probably England would have had quite a tough time in Australia.
Well, you could tell before the Brisbane Test matches that the Australian selectors didn't know what they were doing. They named 17 players, if you remember, for the first Test match. So they didn't know who their spinner was going to be. They didn't know what their seam bowling attack was going to be. So that was going to be the problems, and they should have realised the alarm bells were ringing when their best 2 bowlers in the short series against Pakistan and England in the summer of 2010 were Marcus North and Shane Watson. So they must have known that the seam bowling department was very weak, and so it turned out.
What do you think, in your opinion, is a factor which actually was the turning point in the overall series, really?
Well, the fact that England's bowlers could bowl with the Kookaburra ball, that was the big problem 4 years ago. Anderson's wickets in 2006-07 cost over 80 each, and we didn't know whether this England bowling attack was going to be able to bowl with the Kookaburra ball, but they bowled magnificently with the new ball, and when it got old they bowled terrific reverse swing. And when it came to the spin bowling department, England had a spinner and Australia didn't.
T20 World Cup, in England's pocket. Now, Ashes win. And how do you reckon the World Cup chances for England? Because 3-time finalists and 1-time semi-finalists.
Well, the fact is that England have been an embarrassment in 50-over cricket since 1992, when they were beaten by Pakistan in the World Cup final in Australia. The campaigns since then have been nothing short of an embarrassment, but I think this time under Andy Flower that'll all change, and I'm expecting England certainly to get to the semi-final stage, the last 4 of the competition. But it's a long competition, and minds have got to stay focused, because it's going to take a month to get down to 8 teams from 14. So there's an awful lot of cricket and an awful lot of hanging around to be done for each team.
Having said that, who do you think is the man to look out for? Because England traditionally have suffered in the initial 15 overs where they did not get to a good start, and then they really try to build the momentum which they've already lost in the matches.
Well, clearly Strauss is going to open the batting in 50-over cricket. It's who his partner is that is going to be vitally important. One might hope after his success in 2020 cricket that Ian Bell might be able to do that job. They've got half a mind to put Stephen Davis, the wicket-keeper, up to open the batting, but that's a vital part of the game. England have got to score more runs in the first power play, and Bell might be the man to do that.
And how about Owen Morgan and Kevin Peterson's role? Because they are the men who will push the total to a good limit, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, Owen Morgan's probably the best finisher in one-day cricketer in the world at the moment. Peterson's a unique talent. He needs to be more consistent in the 50-over game and in the Test match game, but if you're talking about match winners, Peterson's usually your man.
In terms of your playing days, 8 for 43 in Headingley, what a performance that was, and I was just reading that there was a revelry or some kind of a party before the day prior to Botham's heroics, and how would you describe that as the top moment of your career?
Oh, definitely, yes. I mean, to win a Test match from that position, Ian's 149 not out, and my bowling in the last innings, you know, made it a thing of sort of comic book boys' own annual stuff, and it's not the sort of result that's ever going to be repeated in cricket. We've seen amazing comebacks, but to be following on and come back and win the game like that, it was certainly a piece of history.
Do you reckon that bowlers usually feel it or have an intuition that they are going to do well on a certain day, when batsman usually is in the top form or in the zone? they have a feeling that they will fare better on a particular day. Do bowlers have that kind of feeling?
Well, yes, and some days things go with you. The edges hit the bat, and they're caught in the slip. Sometimes the catches get put down, the ball goes through the slip cordon for 4, down to third man. But fortunately, it all tends to even itself out, and when it's your day, you've got to capitalise on that fact.
Right. Now, I'm going to ask you something which is related to the development of the game all across the globe. How do you reckon that there is a trade-off between the number of participants in the World Cup and also having one-sided matches? How do you really manage to get off from the trade-off? Too many matches or too many weak oppositions coming into the World Cup?
Well, I think there are too many sides in the World Cup, and the ICC are going to address that from the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. There are going to be fewer teams. I think there should be 2 divisions in Test match cricket and one-day international cricket as well. I think the new Future Tours programme is a nonsense. I don't think people want to see Test match semi-finals and finals. There should be a league with 5 teams in each league and a promoted side every 2 years. And those 5 teams play against one another home and away in a proper Test match series to see who the best team is on a regular basis.
And how do you see the game being promoted thereon? Because if you do not get an opportunity to perform against the best side, then you do not get an opportunity at all.
I think that 2020 is the avenue to do that. I think you could have all kinds of countries playing in 2020 cricket because more of the cracks are papered over. You don't have to be an excellent bowling side, you don't have to be an excellent batting side, and as the Netherlands proved against England at Lord's at the start of the last 2020 World Cup in England, an upset can be caused, and that's what's going to give teams like Afghanistan and hopefully in the near future China and the United States the momentum to go in and become forces in cricket.
Thank you very much for your thoughts, Bob Willis. It was a pleasure to interact with you. Thank you very much.